All right, guys, let's talk about co-opting MAGA. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes. Uh, Earlier this week, or actually last week, Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation stepped in it. And I'm not sure that the Heritage Foundation will recover. I love the Heritage Foundation. Big mistake, but I want you to understand what's going on with the MAGA movement. I want you to understand what's going on with Tucker Carlson, what I believe is going on, what's going on with this Nick Fuentes controversy. The same thing with Candace Owens. Guys, listen, there were only two heir apparents to the MAGA movement, in my opinion, and that would be J.D. Vance or the now late Charlie Kirk. So what we see happening are all these other people that are vying for influence in order to co-opt that movement for their own benefit in order to steer the Republican Party in the direction in which they want it to go. I don't think it's going to work. You're listening to the Carl Jackson Show. Just a reminder to please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble, por favor. If you're on YouTube and Rumble, rate and review the podcast. Okay, so I want to get into this because I think this is a very important topic, and I've spoken about it before with my buddy Josh Hammer that has come on the program, but we didn't go into detail, not into great detail or specificity. I think the last time I had Josh on my show, if I recall correctly, it was before Charlie Kirk's assassination, and then you had Candace Owens implying seemingly that there was this meeting that all these guys had, and I forget where it was, the Hamptons or something like that, where Josh Hammer was involved, Seth Dillon, and it involved Bill Ackman telling what's his name, Charlie Kirk, that he had to drop his association with Tucker Carlson or something like that. And it turned out all of this was basically nonsense. A lot of the stuff that she had said was out of context or old or what have you. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she's trying to intentionally stir something up or what. It seems to me like she may be doing that. Maybe she's hurt. I don't know. Tucker Carlson, I think, is a different story. Nick Fuentes, I believe, are a different story. I'm not completely clear with Candace Owens, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure what her motives are, but I don't like the way that she's handling things right now. And listen, I'm just a peon. Some of you may not care. That's fine, but you need to understand what I think is happening. Here's the bottom line. You guys might remember when Tucker Carlson and Fox News, they were sued by that, I forget the name, the Dominion voting system people. And Fox News had to hand over all this money in a settlement, if I recall correctly. Well, during that period of time, while they were suing Fox News, discovery, both sides get discovery. If you've never been involved in a court hearing of any sort, you get discovery. So you sit in a deposition, your attorneys do, your attorney will ask the other team something, their team will ask you something with your attorney in the room and so on, et cetera, and you get discovery. So basically in that discovery, it was revealed that Tucker Carlson basically could not stand Donald Trump. But after after Tucker Carlson was fired by Fox, released by Fox or whatever, actually, he wasn't even quite released. It was a weird deal where basically he was paid still millions and millions and millions of dollars, but he couldn't do anything. He couldn't go anywhere. Now he has his own network, and good for him. And listen, I'm all for different voices. I'm all for free speech and all that kind of good stuff. But nobody is obligated to platform anyone's speech on their platform. And I'm not talking about the platform carriers. I'm not talking about X. I'm not talking about Instagram, Facebook, so on, these tech giants. That's not censorship. I'm going to get into that momentarily because Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation stepped in it. But what I don't think people understand is that there's a greater plot, I think, that is going on. So the reason why I speak about Tucker Carlson specifically, and I've got a lot of video that I'm going to play because a lot of people don't know who Nick Fuentes is. I didn't know who Nick Fuentes is. I've actually heard his name forever. I've never looked at his stuff. I've just heard stuff here and there. But frankly, I don't follow a lot of these people on social media. I'm a radio guy, learning to do social media, learning to do podcasting. It is not my first love. Let's put it that way. But these people have thrived on social media, and kudos to them for that, because I think social media is a place where conservative values can be spread. Thank God for Elon Musk and purchasing X. But if I could go back to Tucker Carlson, what I recall after that settlement, and Tucker Carlson was whatever happened with Fox, he was no longer on the air with Fox, but you started seeing video pictures, so on, etc. Tucker Carlson hanging around with Trump. And at the time, I thought, wow, that's interesting, because and I don't know Tucker from Jack. I don't know anybody. I'm just, this is just my own observation. I don't know any of Tucker's inner circle. I don't know Tucker Carlson. Probably never will. Don't know Nick Fuentes. Don't know Candace Owens. Probably never will. All right. But the bottom line was, I saw Tucker Carlson hanging around with Trump more and more and more and more, and I thought it was peculiar at the time. I literally was like, this is weird to me, because what was revealed again in Discovery is that he couldn't stand Donald Trump. All right, that's one of the things that were revealed. So I was like, what is this about? And then one day it hit me. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I don't think I am, frankly. And frankly, I think all of this chaos that we're starting to see bubbling up online is evidence of just that. But what came to mind in my head is, if Tucker Carlson is out at Fox, or going to be out at Fox, and the rumors were swirling that he was building his own network, or he was going to be starting his own network, and why not? I mean, the guy was the biggest name on Fox News for years. I mean, I enjoyed watching his show religiously every night at 8. You can go back and look at some of my texts. I think at the time I was like, well, I got some free time now at 8 o'clock, because I'm not going to be watching Fox anymore. I mean, I would literally try to watch. I couldn't see his entire show, but I would try to watch as much of his show religiously as possible. I loved watching his show that much. Didn't always agree with some of the positions on the military, but agreed with a lot of them. But it was just like, it was must-watch TV for me. So once Tucker Carlson left, or whatever again transpired there, and he was cozying up to Trump, what came to mind when the rumors started swirling that he was going to be building his own thing was, I think I know what he's doing. And I remember thinking this so clearly at the time. And again, I expressed this with Josh Hammer on past podcasts. I think he's going to try to co-opt or get as many of Trump's followers to follow him so he can have influence within the MAGA movement. But in order to do that, he had to cozy up to Donald Trump. I mean, if you hate the guy, you had to cozy up to him. And I think that's exactly what's happened. Here's a cut of Tucker Carlson. This is the thing that blew up. And then Kevin Roberts, if we could go to cut number 8, Gabe, if we have enough time, let me know. But this is what blew up last week. Everybody was talking about it. Not everybody, but a lot of people online were talking about it. Some people on radio, I heard Dana Lash and Eric Erickson, they were talking about this and covering this. So I want to make sure I give them their due. But cut number 8, if we have enough time, please, Gabe. This is what started it all.
How do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that, John Bolton? I mean, I've known them all. George W. Bush, like Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I've seen like be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, well, Christian Zionists. Like, what is that?
Right.
And I can just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody. Because like, what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That's why. So I don't, like, why not? Like, I'm pissed at the neocons, very pissed. I've said that a million times. I've been mad since December of 2003 when I went to Iraq. And so, like, I went and asked straightforward questions to Ted Cruz, because that seemed like he was a sitting senator who's like serving for Israel by his own description. He seemed like a worthy target. I'm not going after MTG, who's like the most sincere like, why not go after Ted Cruz? I don't understand.
Okay, so that was Tucker Carlson. That's what a lot of people responded to last week, the video. That's him sitting with Nick Fuentes. I guess this guy is a proclaimed or self-proclaimed white supremacist. Apparently loves Hitler. I mean, there's video, there's audio of him out there saying that. He can't stand Christian Zionists. people like myself, I guess, that believe that Israel has a right to the state. I do believe that they are on their original land. I believe the Bible when it says God will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse thee. Speaking of the nation of Israel, we'll speak more of this on the other side. Carl Jackson. Hey guys, Carl Jackson here for MyPillow. A major retail chain just canceled a massive order, leaving MyPillow with an overstock of classic MyPillows. Now it's your game. For a limited time, MyPillow is offering their entire classic collection at true wholesale prices. You get the standard MyPillow for just $17.98. If you want more, upgrade to queen size for only $22.98 or king size for $24.98. Snag body pillows for just $29.98. And versatile multi-use pillows for just $9.98. All you have to do is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, that is CARL, or call 800-858-0263. All right. Plus, when you order totals of $75 or more, you'll receive $100 in free digital gifts, no strings attached. That's right. Premium pillows at unbeatable prices and bonus gifts to top it all off. Don't wait. Head to mypillow.com right now or call 800-858-0263. And don't forget to use the promo code Carl, CARL, to grab your standard MyPillow for just $17.98. That is insane. Can't beat that with a bat. Okay, so what happened was, all right, so that's the video that you just watched. And listen, guys, I believe that Jesus was a Jewish carpenter. I believe that Jesus is my Lord and Savior. I believe I believe that were it not for the Jewish people, that we would not have the scriptures. Not only did they give us their the Bible scriptures by meticulously preserving them, but Jesus was a Jew. All right, Jesus came from the line of David. I mean, that is just, if you say that you're a Christian, that is just biblical. That is just biblical. You don't have to agree with the nation's policies, but to say, oh, Christian Zionist, that is heresy. That is so insane. I don't even know where that comes from. But what I saw in that clip with Tucker Carlson, first, I believe he started out with ill intentions. I don't even know if they were ill. The guy was hurt. And frankly, I could understand it. But he wasn't going to be pushed to the side. And he's a great talent. He's a brilliant guy. We can all agree on that. But he wasn't going to be pushed to the side. So I saw that he was co-opting the MAGA movement. That's what I believe was going on all along. You know what I think we're seeing here? And I don't think I've heard anyone say this. This is a man that's just bitter and angry. This is a man that's just bitter and angry. This is a man that feels like he's been kicked to the curb, and he's going to do everything he can to squash those who he feels have done it or played a part in it or didn't give him the time of day afterwards. He's going to make a name for himself. He's going to be bigger and better than ever, and he might be. But what I see is a man that is just bitter and angry. And that's what I believe you're seeing with Nick Fuentes. Now, Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation, he stepped in it. Hat tip RCP, Real Clear Politics. Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts, these are my words, he stepped in it. He came to the defense of Tucker Carlson last week after Carlson's friendly interview with Nick Fuentes. Now, you guys might remember that Tucker Carlson gave an interview with Ted Cruz, and I mean, he went after him. But Nick Fuentes could say the craziest things, and Tucker Carlson basically doesn't do it, doesn't go after him. Roberts of Heritage Foundation, who stepped in it, I believe, admits that there is a problem with the emergence of this growing anti-Semitism on the right, on some pockets in the right. He said that the controversy, or actually, this is RCP, Real Clear Politics, saying that Roberts weighing into this has rocked the Heritage Foundation, sown dissension among the ranks internally, raised questions about the institution's status as a preeminent conservative think tank in D.C. And Roberts has repeatedly sought to clarify exactly what he meant. He said at one point, not as many people as I thought were ready for nuance. And basically what he did was he defended Tucker Carlson, his friend. He's a close friend of his. And I get that. I can understand that. But he also said that the conservative community shouldn't be like Democrats. We shouldn't be like the left. We shouldn't cancel people, even if they have nasty ideas. And I'm paraphrasing, like a Nick Fuentes. What we should do is debate them. Hey, and that's fine and swell. But let's clarify something. Not inviting somebody on your show is not canceling them. As long as Nick Fuentes has access to X, Facebook, no one's calling for him not to have access to all of these social media platforms where apparently he has gathered a great amount of people that follow this guy. And the guy just happens to be vile. The guy just happens to be an anti-Semite. Apparently, at one point, he was caught with by his users with gay porn on his screen. And to me, whatever, that's neither here nor there. But I don't think he has the moral authority to be discussing Christian Zionism with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson, who claims he's a Christian, and maybe he is. I'm not going to question Tucker Carlson's relationship with Jesus Christ. But what I am going to say, that's a pretty naive view. Somebody should tell him that his God is Jewish. I mean, this is just crazy. This is insane. And so the only thing that I can think, what's happening? I've looked at recent videos of Candace Owens, and I'm like, what happened to this chick? I don't have anything against Candace Owens. I used to love some of her takes. I thought some of her takes were really good when it came to the political sphere. Some not as much, but I always appreciated what she was able to accomplish for the conservative movement. Being black, young woman, pretty, I thought that made a heck of a difference, and the conservative movement needed it, and they needed that social media presence, even though it was Trump who elevated herself and others. Quite frankly, I think she did a great job of kind of taking the torch and running with it until she didn't. But she's grown a massive audience. And now it seems like she's more in the conspiracy and or going back and forth about, against Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirkson, etc. I said this at the beginning of the show, and I'll say it again. I think J.D. Vance is probably the heir apparent to MAGA. I think Charlie Kirk was kind of an heir apparent to MAGA. But I think what you see are those that want to set the tone for MAGA, because Trump isn't a king. We all know that Trump is going to go on in 2028. He's going to go to Mar-a-Lago. He's going to chill there for the rest of his life. And quite frankly, if Republicans don't win or retain the House and the Senate in 2026, then Trump is a lame duck at that point. I pray to God that does not happen. And frankly, I don't believe these races that are occurring this week are a bellwether for next year's election. I really don't. The one big beautiful bill, or the big beautiful bill, hasn't even kicked in yet. We're still living under Biden's what do you call that? Plan, economy, if you will. That's what that clean CR is about. But that's what I think this is about. Let's play another video. This is Nick Fuentes. This is what he says about Tucker Carlson. He calls him a white double snakes N-word. All right, cut number 9, and we'll bleep this out for those that may be watching on SNC, but you can hear it on our podcast, the Carl Jackson Show on YouTube and Rumble. Cut number 9, please, Gabe.
Remember to get your merch. We have our brand new white ass going hard as shirt at Fuentes.store, because that's what we are. I would say that Tucker is a honorary Wang half. Tucker Carlson, you are this week's. No one can deny. I am one also. But it's got Wang half on the front, me on the back. That's what's up. They're trying to neutralize me. Try it. You'll end up like that last guy, like that. They got blown up. Wang half. Fuentes.store. Get the hats as well. Show your allegiance. This is America first. This is America.
Okay. All right, so that's who Tucker Carlson is pouring out his heart to when he talks about Christian Zionism. I think this guy's an act. I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people are taking this guy too seriously. I think this guy has figured out how to blow up on social media, and he's not going to let go of it. Does he really have these views? I suspect he would, because I don't think you would share them necessarily if you didn't, because you take a lot of incoming. But I think a lot of this is an act, and I think it works. You're controversial. You blow up on social media. This stuff works. But now, for the Heritage Foundation to step in this, and I love the Heritage Foundation. I actually love Kevin Roberts and the work that he's been doing at the Heritage Foundation. But sometimes you got to use discernment and just shut your pie hole. And this is one of those times. Nobody's canceling Nick Fuentes. No one ever mentioned canceling Nick Fuentes. The question is it wise for some conservatives that want to grow the movement to put them on their podcast, to put them on their shows, instead of letting him grow wild on his own show? That is a question of discernment. And we can do whatever the heck we want to do. So I don't even know why Kevin Roberts weighed in on this, but it is causing quite a stir at the Heritage Foundation. And why would you weigh in regarding this guy? If anything, what Kevin Roberts should have did was reached out to Tucker Carlson. Hey man, I understand this is free speech, but it should have been a conversation between he and Tucker Carlson. Nobody's canceling Nick Fuentes. I don't even know why he's using that language. But no, we're not experiencing. The right isn't doing what the left did to us. We're not going to the FBI and asking them to kick Nick Fuentes off any social media platforms. It's just absolutely insane. But just so that you understand what's really happening is, guys, Trump is not going to be president after 2028, despite him trolling the left and despite them really buying into that nonsense. It is not going to happen. The Constitution doesn't allow it. So the question is, who's going to take over the MAGA movement? And that's the battle. That's the real battle that you see taking place. And quite frankly, I saw this battle taking place even before the election of 2024, when you could just go on X Spaces and see the chaos between DeSantis and Trump supporters. And a lot of people that were for Trump had untraditional conservative views, let's say. And I was like, eventually, we're going to work together to get Trump in, but there's going to be a war that's coming. It's here. Okay, so again, we're talking about what's really happening, what's really transpiring. I believe with Tucker Carlson, deep down, I do believe this is simply about co-opting MAGA. Who's going to run MAGA? Who's going to have the influence? I actually believe this is why Charlie Kirk was so despised. And again, I haven't paid attention to a lot of this stuff because I just don't care, or I hadn't cared. But listen, the influence that Charlie Kirk had on the culture is absolutely amazing. I didn't know the impact that he was having on the culture. I had watched old videos of him and Candace Owens when they were younger, and I thought they were doing a great thing by going to some of these college campuses. I'll be honest with you, I was oblivious, even despite the fact that the guy was a colleague, to the major impact that he was having. I knew he was having an impact on college campuses, but even more than that, an impact on young people's not just political worldview, but their biblical worldview, and on the culture, where a lot of young people that were listening to him and were watching him were believing in the things that he was believing in. And as he got older and once he got married, Charlie Kirk obviously became more biblically based with his politics. He became more conservative instead of libertarian leaning in some of these social views. And those are the things that he preached. But he was having such an impact with the youth vote. I think these people want to co-opt that youth vote. I think they want the youth vote that Charlie Kirk had. As a matter of fact, I saw this. I can't recall if it was a video or some type of on a messaging app, but it was on. I reposted it on my Instagram probably a week or two ago. From the Officer Tatum. And basically, this Nick Fuentes said that he had basically, using vulgar language, effed Turning Point USA, impregnated Turning Point USA. And so now there were people inside of Turning Point USA that were working to destroy that organization. that organization that has done such good. After Charlie Kirk's death, I don't think any of us knew, except perhaps the people within Turning Point USA. And I'm not even convinced that they knew, because I don't think that anybody expected the type of the impact that Charlie Kirk's death had on people returning to church. Young people standing up and saying, I'm starting the TPUSA chapter in my high school, college, so on, etc. I don't think any of us saw that. So I don't think that any of these people will be able to fill that gap for Charlie Kirk. And I don't think they should, because I don't think that they have the biblical virtue to do so. So I don't think they'll be able to fill that gap. But they want to try to take that audience, because this is all about clicks. This is all about gratifying their own kingdom. This is all about gratifying their own flesh. As I watch more videos of Candace Owens, I was watching a video earlier today, and she was talking about how Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson and some other texts that she had with Charlie Kirk, and how Charlie Kirk really didn't like Ben Shapiro. He liked Tucker Carlson more. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is like straight up chick stuff. So what? So what? I can't believe where all of this stuff is devolving. But I bring this to your attention to let you know that in 2026 and in 2028, we have to be policy focused. We have to win the House, keep the House. We have to keep the Senate. We have to keep the presidency. I'd like Trump's policies. I want to see even more conservative type policies. I want to see less government spending. I want to see, frankly, I would prefer to see the FBI shut down or really cut in half. I would like to see the federal government cut in half. I would like to see the Obamacare subsidies in. I would like to see an alternative plan for free market health care, where poor people can shop for insurance and middle class across state lines and find insurance companies that have to compete for their business and give them lower rates, as opposed to a government that will pay insurance companies to get richer thanks to Obamacare, while the patient gets screwed. So I want to see an even more conservative agenda advance in 2026 and in 2028. But I love the things that Trump is doing. But what we're witnessing here are people that are seriously trying to co-opt a movement, and you can't let them do it. You can't let them do it. I think all these people in their own right are talented. Obviously, Tucker Carlson is extremely talented. But I think he's bitter, and I think he's hurt, and I think he's living on revenge. And I think that's what you're seeing playing out. It makes no sense that he hated Trump. Then he loved Trump, cozied up to him. And then not so much anymore. Trump, that wacky Trump, bombing Iran, helping the Israelis. It's just insane to me. Here's another one, cut number 12. I think this is more of this Fuentes character.
And I will tell you this as plainly as possible. I don't want to live around black people. I just don't. It would be irresponsible if I had a wife and kids to live near black people. It just would be. And that's not to say that every black person is violent. It's not to say that every black person is the same way. But we watch the news. We read the papers. When you drive downtown in Chicago, you know who you got to look out for and worry about when you're thinking about whether you're going to get carjacked, when you're worried about catching a stray bullet, when you're worried about who's going to pull up on the side of the road and literally shove a rifle in your face and steal your iPhone, or shoot you point blank, execution style, in Lincoln Park. We know who's doing it. I don't want to live near them. I don't want to be near them. They make me nervous. That's a survival instinct.
I don't want to be around black criminals either. Black criminals are not the same as everyday black people. But that's who Tucker Carlson is pouring his heart out to. That's who Tucker Carlson is having conversations about Christian Zionism with. No moral clarity, world. That's insane. That is insane. Tucker Carlson, who calls himself a Christian, I hope he is. I pray that he is. If he isn't, I pray that he gets saved. And I pray that God brings some clarity to his own eyes, because he obviously needs it. This is cut number 14. Apparently, this guy praised Joseph Stalin, who was responsible for murdering 15 to 20 million people. Had Trotsky, one of the guys that ran against him. I think Trotsky went to Mexico. Had him stabbed by an ice pick. Guys using an ice pick. Cut number 14, please, Kate.
So it was like mid-December, late December. It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was an admirer. But we don't need to go into that. I guess.
Well, that's okay. Let's get back. We'll circle back to that.
It was weird because the reason I
okay, stop. Pause that for a second. That was fake as hell. This guy's an actor. I don't doubt that he believes some of this nonsense, but this guy knows how to act for the camera too. I'm a Stalin fan. Who acts like that? In my opinion, this is a kid that grew up online, that doesn't have a lot of real world experience, sits in his basement, probably goes on VR, virtual reality, a lot. That's who Nick Fuentes is. That's who he is. Judging an entire race of people by what he sees on the news. Now, I will admit, black crime is high in urban communities. That's sad. That's not all black people by far. Unfortunately, you have a lot of blacks, or few blacks, inside of these urban communities, making it bad for everybody. I could go on. I got several more videos, and perhaps we'll play them later. But all of that to say, what's happening is MAGA is being co-opted. There's an internal struggle within the conservative movement, within the Republican Party. I can't stand anti-Semites. I can't stand racists. And I don't think they should be a part of the conservative movement. I believe in e pluribus unum. There's a video, I wish I would have played it earlier, of Charlie Kirk. I can't even remember what it was, but he called out some guy that was basically a neo-Nazi or a white supremacist, basically spouting the same nonsense as this guy, Nick Fuentes. And Charlie Kirk asked him, where does it say, where did the founders say in the Constitution that they wanted America to be strictly, basically another European nation? The guy couldn't answer because it doesn't exist. And then Charlie Kirk asked him to define e pluribus unum, and he couldn't do that from many one. Guys, this country is from many one. What binds us together is our Judeo-Christian heritage and the Constitution of the United States. And if we forget that, we're going to lose this country. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good.